Hi, it's Dr. Kim D'Eramo, physician, best-selling author, and founder of the American Institute of Mind-Body Medicine. If you've been struggling with an illness, maybe an autoimmune disease or overweight or fatigue where you just don't have enough energy, or maybe you're living with chronic pain, I know what it's like when you struggle to get better. But what happens a lot of times is we're fighting disease, we're fighting the illness, we're fighting the fat, and there's all this idea that we need to gear up and fight in order to overcome an illness. And I know personally, because years ago I was diagnosed with a chronic autoimmune illness and doctors told me I'd need medication indefinitely. And I went into a fight. I was not going to accept that for an answer. I knew that somehow my mind and body were connected and that I could change this. But the only thing I knew to do was fight. Well, here's what happens and why that will never work to bring you into ideal health. When we're in a fight, or even when we just perceive that we're in a fight, our body goes into this hyper alert mode and it produces stress chemicals. It creates inflammation. And all of these are the chemistry that underlie every major chronic illness, especially autoimmune disease. In fact, when you're perceiving that fight or flight, you're in a fight with your life, you've got to fight this disease, you literally make yourself sicker. You throw off and imbalance your immune system and make it impossible for your body to establish harmony. So what do you do when you want to get better and you don't know how to do it without fighting? One of the things that seems really counterintuitive is to come into harmony with what is. Now, this was really hard for me, and it was not my normal way of going about life. But I needed to first accept that my body felt the way it felt and to stop fighting, to stop working and trying to make it better. Doesn't mean you don't still have the intention to get better, but you go about it in an entirely different way. So you accept exactly how you feel, what is. EFT meridian tapping is a great tool to bring your body into alignment with what is, with your symptoms, with your pain, with your fatigue, with whatever illness you're dealing with. And it patterns your nervous system by giving new messages to your brain to let your body know that even though you have this illness or this pain or this imbalance, that it is okay. You do not need to get into fight. The second thing is to allow yourself to feel and perceive and receive all of that challenge and the struggle. It may be feelings of defeat, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of despair, whatever might be at the bottom of what is causing you to fight so hard, and to just let those emotions go. Again, EFT tapping is phenomenal for this, and it allows your body to release those emotions that when they stay stuck, create that inflammation, that stress chemistry, and cause disease. So when we can get connected with our body with the awareness of what we're really feeling, accept it completely and fully without fighting, and then release the emotions that underlie our illness, we can have a dramatic and often very quick improvement. In fact, I've seen patients who had severe pain for years and years and years. One of them was on narcotic pain medications and he tried everything. Acupuncture, physical therapy, massage therapy, and finally needed to be on medications almost every day. And within just 4 minutes of using this method, coming into alignment to stop fighting the pain and then releasing the emotions behind it, he had no pain. He was completely pain-free and eventually got off his medications. What we found was it wasn't just the experience of the pain that was the biggest problem. It was all of the frustration, anger, powerlessness of how long this had been going on that were the emotions behind the symptoms that kept the symptoms stuck and prevented him from healing. And as soon as we accessed him to those emotions and just allowed them without fighting them, we were able to release those emotions from his system and the pain resolved. This is really, really common. It's not the outlier where this happens once in a while. It happens really frequently when we use this process to get out of fighting, which is going to just increase your stress hormones, cortisol, and your adrenaline, and all of the inflammatory hormones. What happens when you go into that fight is your body shuts down. You can't metabolize your food. You can't even breathe smoothly because your body's in this fight or flight pattern. So getting out of fight or flight and allowing these emotions to move is the fastest way to help your body heal. This is Dr. Kim D'Eramo from drkimd.com and the American Institute of Mind Body Medicine. Share your comments here with me below, and I will support you in overcoming pain, illness, fatigue, and autoimmune disease. Be well and have a great day.